2009. Corruption enters the executive branch of the United States federal government. Multinational corporations and private interest outweighing the common good. 2011. Earthquakes in the middle of Africa vent great rivers of molten rock, filling whole valleys, evaporate lakes, dam the Nile changing its course and destroying the ecosystem, killing 8 million people instantly. The Nile empties into the Indian Ocean. The former ecosystem surrounding the Nile to the north is almost completely destroyed. The ecosystem of the Mediterranean is changed without the usual influx of the Nile's fresh water. The surrounding area where the new Nile empties into the Indian Ocean is changed, killing millions of sea life within the first few months. Black Death plague starts. Corruption enters more than 2/3 of all the branches of the United States federal government. 2012, metallic glass is invented 2/3 as strong as steel. 2013, the incorruptible Secret Service replaced by elite presidential guard in the protection of the United States presidents. Attempts were made to influence the Secret Service into the possibility of impeaching or even assassinating the president with their help. 2014, solar cellular pad modules invented. SCPM is an energy that gives off no waste and is a completely renewable energy source of high output. It is renewed to its original energy level by exposure to sunlight. On April 6th, at 6:46 GMT, 6 nuclear interplanetary missiles detonated on board an orbiting military station in a low orbit, exposing and killing 2.4 billion people worldwide over a 10-year period. The explosion completely destroys the ozone over the southeastern hemisphere. Deaths directly from disease and exposure to ultraviolet radiation from the sun reached 40 million in this year, the highest number in 1 year. Black Death, a hybrid form of the famous Black Plague, starts spreading rapidly through the world, in underdeveloped countries destroying whole populations, almost 700 million in Asia. Corruption starts to enter state governments in the United States. 2016, the nuclear detonation in the Pacific of the reactor of a hijacked nuclear-powered submarine was detonated to prevent the terrorist from devastating countries and the world. The captain activated the fail-safe device on September 23rd at 23:03 GMT. All nuclear weapons and power plants are outlawed throughout the world after this detonation in the ocean through the use of the non-nuclear pact. All countries sign some portions of the pact, but still reserve their sovereign rights. Overall, almost every country enforces the pact. 2018. The Great Belief is formed based on the beliefs of Jews, Christians, and Muslims. It combines the 3 beliefs into one. 7 books are the bases of the religion, one from each of the 3 religions. One is of the Dead Sea Scrolls, only the completed passages. One book form the fusing of the books from the 3 religions into one called the Great Book. One book is said to be written by the first believer of this great lost belief in 1471, a Sufi mystic in Lower Iran. The book is called A Great Wisdom. It is said the mystic got the words from an angel that burned the words on the wall with a fiery sword in the cave she was living in. The book is said to be unfinished because the mystic died while still writing it. The 7th and final book is not a book at all, but a journal for a person to write in, and after their death to be archived and open for all to see. 7 people are chosen by the people to be the great body to govern the religion for 7 years, each having a turn at being the head of the 7, the oldest being first, and the youngest being last, that person having the title of the Great Believer. 2020. A new United Nations is formed to change with the new, more environmentally efficient and safe countries of the world. All countries join to save their government, people, land, and the world from hundreds of years of misuse. 2022. In the United States, federal judges in Texas are arrested for taking bribes from foreigners by Texas Rangers. The judges were never released to federal officials after being arrested. The judges were tried in Texas courts and jailed in Texas jails. The corrupt United States president orders the governor of Texas to order the Texas Rangers to release the judges to federal officials. The governor told the president to come to Texas and take them. 1 hour after being on Texas soil, the president was surrounded by armed Texas Rangers who took him into custody for suspicion of taking bribes. The president was released after 3 days because of Secret Service protests. The Secret Service were reassigned to protect the president after the so-called elite presidential guard failed. They were corrupt, former Rangers in the United States Army. The judges were never released. A United States president that was corrupt never even came close to Texas again. No president after 2022 ever set foot in, over, or around Texas. 2027, UN warns that with the low birth rates and high death rate that the human race is dangerously close to being an endangered species, this being attributed to deaths or exposure to the Black Death, cosmic radiation, famine, nuclear fallout, and other plagues. 2034, 36 states of the United States break away to form the Federated States of the Republic of Texas and Sioux Nation, TS. The first to break away was Texas, after a corrupt rogue group of 20 United States Special Forces personnel were killed while attempting to assassinate the governor of Texas by a group of 7 Texas Rangers. 5 months after Texas broke away, TS was formed. 87% of the United States military joins the new government after only 3 days, and some other branches of the government. 2036, Black Death plague is stopped. Many countries suffer from the after effects of millions being sterile or genetic mutations. What is left of the United States starts to crumble under its corrupt system being abandoned to their fate by the corporations and private interests that made it corrupt in the first place. 2039, TS becomes the richest country and starts their isolation program. Over time, the countries of the world, more than half, start to come out of the darkness of the last 5 decades and start to really grow into their own, being stronger in every way. Very few countries experience true hardship, but with only small localized disasters that can be contained, and in some cases, surrounding countries pull together to help. 2041, official UN number published on deaths only attributed to the Black Death plague, 2,075,155,243 people. Original Black Death estimated at 75 million from 1347 to 1351. 2048, TS volunteers to clean the world's air and water, along with any country that will help outside of TS. The only technology allowed to be exported is devices used to clean the environment. An international zone is established around Jerusalem, 100-kilometer radius, to create peace in the region that has known war for thousands of years. Any religion may be practiced, no-fly zone within a 1,000-kilometer diameter of the city centre, governed by the UN. No weapons allowed. UN police carry small firearms. No automobiles. No property ownership. Any who break the law inside are not allowed back in, ever. Nothing is sold within. All is freely provided. No overnight stays. No one resides within. Construction and deconstruction decisions are advised by the stewards of Jerusalem. 4 Jews, 4 Christian, 4 Muslims, and 4 great believers, and then a UN member country assigned the 5-year assignment of oversight of Jerusalem decides. Other than laws created by the stewards and ratified by the overseer, the city is under international law. 2051, first permanent moon base is established, each section built by a different international space program, and is governed by the UN approximate population at a maximum of 5,000 personnel. Current number of space stations is 104, with an estimated 300,000 at any one time. First space station orbiting the Moon and the first manned orbit of Mars. 2055, first human to land and walk on Mars. 6 months later, first manned orbit of Venus. 2057, TS becomes the strongest superpower in the world economically, technologically, and militarily. Most countries are at peace with one another, but there are a few conflicts over territory, economic hardship, debt, race, religion, and political differences. Most conflicts are settled at a table after the UN gets involved. 2062, 6 other moon bases established, all much larger than the first, the smallest housing 10,000 people and the largest 25,000 people. First manned orbit of Jupiter. 2065, first manned orbit of Saturn. First manned inspection of the asteroid belt. 2068, first human to land and walk on Venus. Small Mars base was established for 500 people. 2071, first manned orbit of Mercury. First human to land and walk on Io and Europa, both moons of Jupiter 1 month apart. Small base of 1,500 people was established on Venus. 3 more bases were established on Mars, increasing the personnel to a little over 5,000. Terraforming starts on Mars. 2073, half of the TS population lives and works in space. TS space program is the most advanced, possibly 20 years ahead of other international programs. 2075, first manned mobile station to mine asteroid belt. 2080, first human to land and walk on Mercury. Terraforming of Venus started. First person to have proven psychic ability, a 9-year-old girl that levitates a small car, turns it upside down, then lays it back down onto the ground 3 times in 1 hour in front of 1,000 scientists of most every field. 4 months later, she is shot to death by a man named Jonathan Kent Rohan, who was then beaten to death by 11 people that went to prison for 19 years each. It is unknown for the reason of the shooting. Jonathan Kent Rohan at the time was employed at a cinema down the street from the shooting. 2082, TS ends its clean-up program, returning the world's atmosphere and water to pre-industrial standards and making it against international law to pollute. The Clean World Act is made through the United Nations by TS, making the ground rules for what is safe and what is not, with the different reforming ecosystems around the world. More and more people are leaving Earth for space. A program started by children in the African desert is adopted worldwide recycling of building materials of an empty or abandoned village, town, or even a city. After it is stripped, the empty land becomes a farm or ranch. 2083. The preternatural law was signed into international law to prevent invasion of privacy by telepaths and by mass hysteria because of psychic abilities. In the law, people may volunteer to be registered and taught to use their abilities. In some countries, it is mandatory. Some areas are preternatural zones, where people can freely test and use their abilities. Only in emergencies is a psychic person allowed to use their abilities, but they will be accountable by law. There are licensed psychics as well. 2085. 0.5% of humans are proven to have psychic abilities such as telepathy, telekinesis, extrasensory perception, clairvoyance. 2087, Caridinium invented. Caridinium, the light and strongest alloy developed. Caridinium makes it easier to invent and improve almost every product with metallic components. Under heat, the metal produces energy. Under pre-existing international law pertaining to space and all types of space exploration, vehicles, and space facilities, the UN Space Marshal Service controls and enforces space laws. They are the only ones allowed to possess any kind of weapon in space, excluding cutting utensils. Each spacecraft and facility has a security officer that is a space marshal. The most extreme weapons in space at this time are particle cannons, used solely for Earth defense, destroying incoming asteroids, comets, etc. 2090, hacker virus rebellion begins. After tracing computer errors that resulted in hundreds of deaths to hackers and the resulting computer viruses, it became illegal to be a hacker or to develop computer viruses for distribution by international law punishable by death. 52 executions, hacker and virus activity increases 100-fold. 2093, Spectral Gang starts to rob government banks and mince the world over. The Spectral Gang is made of former Special Forces operators from around the world that had to go rogue when their governments tried to eliminate them for their knowledge of government secrets and their mere existence. It is speculated that the gang has no more than 200 people. 2094, Superstation unveiled by TS, ending its isolation program. All international space programs agree that the Superstation is the best design by far for any long-term space station. Superstation plans are freely shared with every space program. Bases increase on the Moon, Mars, and Venus. The number of space stations increases. More manned expeditions to orbit every planet in the system. 2096. The Great Belief becomes the most populous religion. Half the world chooses not to officially practice religion. Estimated population of humanity at this time is 4.7 billion. 2097, Spectral Gang, all killed while trying to leave the robbery of an underground treasury storehouse of its valuable metals in Canada on June 21 at 2:32 GMT. It is unknown if all the members of the Spectral Gang were present at the attempted robbery that took the lives of 121 suspected members and 10 confirmed members of the gang. It was alleged that several members were not killed or were not present during the robbery. The estimated take of all the robberies attributed to the Spectral Gang is 30.8 billion world credits was not recovered. The 211 tons of precious is not included with the cash estimate. 2098, the Interstellar Space Program of Research is formed. ISPR is made up of all space programs of the world united in its effort to expand into the solar system. At this time, almost 1/8 of the population lives and works in space or on other planets, satellites, asteroids, etc. Every country becomes a member of ISPR, even if they have no space program, all equal in the administration of the program. 2102. Construction of the first superstation starts. On average, it takes 2 years to complete a superstation after the space yards and prefabrication techniques were established, with many being built at the same time. On average, 1 every 4 months is dedicated. Materials are from recycled buildings, almost entire cities, old space stations, and asteroids. Computers at this time are carefully monitored for errors caused by hackers or viruses. All communication between computers is carefully filtered through secondary computers that their sole purpose is to check incoming and outgoing files for illegal activity. They use hardware only to check files no software used to check. 2104, first superstation, dedicated already full of people. 2111. The council is formed of 14 members from all the nations of the world, with 1 neutral member as chairperson. Every time a system is made that a hacker could not break into, they find a way. Viruses are becoming more complex, even ones that infect programs that are made to detect them and destroy them. 2117. All buildings that are not historically significant are destroyed, and the rubble used as raw material for space station construction. All cleared land was made suitable for planting of indigenous life. The goal is to let Mother Nature take over the Earth. Around each historical building is a 1-kilometre diameter zone that is trimmed back so that the site is not overrun by vegetation. Natural farms are harvested along with cattle, but only 1 in 5, and 1 acre for every 5. And limited hunting parties are allowed, but no firearms. Only bow and arrows, spears and such are allowed in registered hunting parties, with a UN observer and a UN security officer with a handgun that is for emergency use only, with 3 hunting parties per continent, 10 persons per party, each year. The waiting list is already 10 years long. Garatu's Guardian system, invented, hacker virus rebellion ends. The Guardian system's secret is strictly regulated by the Council. All the countries make a single component and then is assembled by a division of the Secret Service. 2121, terraforming of Mars, is complete. 2128, all needed superstations are built. Almost 2,000 superstations are built to house around 6 billion humans, others living on newly terraformed and inhabitable Mars. Some in the moon bases on Venus, Io, Europa, many asteroids, research ships. The farthest a manned ship has travelled outside the solar system is 15.8 astronomical units, past the orbit of Pluto. Each country was allowed to pick up to 100,000 buildings or sites to be protected from being destroyed for raw material, even though some were important enough to transplant. Over 2 million buildings were transplanted to superstations under construction. There was a lottery that allowed people to vote to protect a building or site. 100,000 other buildings and sites were saved. Each protected place has at least 3 custodians that volunteer for 3 to 5 years at a time to take care of the places. Some places require more people because of their size and complexity. Other than the custodians, there are other people that live on Earth, tribal societies. They live off the land with no technology, but they do have 1 comset for emergencies only, not 1 other form of industrial technology. The Earth is only allowed a special amount of humans each year, but usually they settle within kilometres of, or even visit some of the historical places. Research teams are at times given permission to investigate, military to train. At no time are more than 1 million people on Earth. Average is 800,000. 2130, terraforming of Venus, is half done. 2134, nature has completely taken the world back. All areas of the world are able to support vegetation. Most are thriving, and some former cities still need some help. 2137, telewarp portation system invented. With the advent of telewarp portation systems, trips that would take months now only take weeks. Computer holographic simulation chamber invented. Holographic chambers, as soon as they were invented, were on the market in a few weeks. Easily designed and manufactured, every other home has at least a projector, and 1/4 of those have a small chamber. 2144 telewarp portation system is approved for public and private heavy interstellar transportation spacecraft. After extensive testing, telewarp ships, the overall concerns are no more. The system is safe if properly monitored and regulated. 2150, terraforming of Venus is complete.